Hello everyone, so earlier I was thinking I should do an in-detail race tier list because all the other ones are kind of trash. I've made videos on every race, so I just want to finish up the series with this one like big mega video on all the races, and I also want to help new players and tell them what's good and like what's bad in the current meta. You can trust me, I know like basically everything about the game. I have loads of game knowledge, so I know like what's good, what's bad, how it should be used. And I just want to mention, this is a tier list for races in Gaia. I'll be covering why the race is useful, why it should be used with examples, and why I've just ranked it in its place. Okay, to start off, so as you can tell, I only have 4 rankings. This is because I just think all the races are fairly balanced. Like, there's obviously races that are better than others and races that are worse than others, but they don't make like that massive difference, you know? Like they're all just kind of blocked together, in my opinion, apart from a few. So yeah, I just have S, which an S rating is just like busted races. Races that, okay, in my opinion, in Rogue, there's 2 things that make your build really good. It's having sustainability, like health, and mobility. These are like the 2 key things you need to have a good build in Rogue. So S tier is covering both of these or just having a lot of them. So yeah, S is just busted races that can make really strong interactions that are just really good for PvP and utility in general. A tier is like good races, like they're just good. Like they aren't like, they don't stand out like S tier races, but they're really good and you can make good builds with them. They aren't bad. You can make really strong builds with A tier races. They just aren't S tier level, like stupid level. B tier is just races. Like they're good, but like they aren't like A tier. They're okay. You can do what you want with them. You can still do good things with them. They just don't have that extra bit to it. And then C tier is just like, yeah, Scream. So listen. Scream isn't necessarily bad. It's like, okay, Scream isn't a bad race. Look, the reason why Scream is like quote unquote bad, like it's not a bad race, it's a really well made race, it's put together well. Like, okay, Scream, let's list off all the positives. You can't break some of your bones, like your leg, that's super useful for survivability. You are immune to a whole damage type, you're immune to poison, that's a whole damage type in the game. Like that's really good. Emerald enchant, druids, facelesses, like it's a good passive, it's not bad. Decompose, you don't have to spend money on meat, you just have that extra silver on you, you can regenerate quickly, you get hunger. And Detoxify is just there to like get people off of you in that and get up back to fighting. So Scream, like it's a well-made race. It's not quote unquote bad, but it is. And the reason why Scream is bad is because it's more of a utility race. Like it's used for Scream grips, just on your alt account really. Screams are just your alt account. It's a stereotypical new player alt account. It's not. Look, Rogue Lineage is a PvP based game. It's PvP orientated. Scream, which is a utility race, naturally it doesn't fit in because Scream doesn't have that many PvP advantages. You could argue that the poison buff Screams get is viable. It's not. It's 10% poison increase. Like that's basically nothing. It's trash. Detoxify is not a PvP move. It's not like a fighting move. It's a utility move to get people off of you when you're in Decompose. Scream, like the only buff they have is the poison buff and like the bigger hunger bar. Like that's the only thing they have. But like that's not gonna help. Like 90% of the time that isn't gonna change anything, so it's just not good for PvP. It's just a utility race. Like it's not a bad race, if you know what I mean, but it's just bad in PvP, and that's why overall it's in the C tier. It's not a PvP race in a PvP race game. Okay, next we have Castellan. Castellan is also C tier. Let me explain why. Castellan is not a good race. Well, okay, Castellan, like it has its perks. Like the mana charge is really good. I think it's 1.25 times. Like it's really good. Like it's like the perfect amount. It's not too much like Rigan's or AZAEL's, but it's not too little like normal mana charge. It's the perfect amount to cast right. But like it's great. Like the mana charge is fine, but like that's just the mana charge. It doesn't have that big of an impact. Then you have like the Scholar Boon, like the wider casting range. That shit is just useless kind of. Like it has no impact. It's basically nothing. Like it's not even a passive. I wouldn't even count that. It's nothing. Now the thing with Castellan is they get 2 snaps. This is really good, But that's the thing, 2 snaps or a whole other race ability. Like, this is the thing with Castellan, like, it gets 2 snaps, that's like its thing. It's good, right? 2 snaps is good, don't get me wrong. Like, you can still do really good things with Castellan. But you could just be any other race and just have, like, a better set of abilities over 2 snaps and a small mana boost. So I just don't think Castellan is that good. And besides, you can just get a soul snap anyway. It's only like minuscule amount of HP. But it's just like, it's not bad, but it's not good. Like every other race has something that makes them good. Castellan's just kind of there. Like it's alright. It's not the greatest. Yeah, it's just there. So, okay, what do we have next? Just pick a random one. HASELDAN. Why not HASELDAN? We'll do like all the beginner races, stereotypical beginner races. HASELDAN, I think it's A tier. Hear me out, like it's the most common race, but it's good. Okay, first of all, Evamp makes up for like the weaknesses you can get. HASELDAN can one combo like basically anything. As long as you have a brain on your head and you don't panic, it's really good. HASELDAN is really good and it's really common. It's easy to get. It's good for new players. You have a really good passive that just gets you up from being knocked. So that's very useful. You can get up back in a fight. And it works really well with its other ability, which I think is like, yeah, it's called like Last Stand or something. It's just good. You do extra damage. You can come back in a fight. It's amazing. And like, okay, when you get Bloodline or Fury, I'm pretty sure it's Bloodline in Gaia. Yeah, it's Bloodline. What you want to do is you don't want to pop it right away. You want to wait for them to come near you. Like, let's say you're fighting someone. Oh shoot, you just got knocked, right? You still have an extra chance to get back in the fight. You want them to come towards you, so like bait them. They're about to pick you up, you pop Bloodline, then they're right next to you, like they're in M1 range. You can combo them, you just got a surprise combo, they're off guard, and you have 2 times damage. If you have any like high damage ability or combo and you put it off, they're literally dead. There's nothing they can do about it. HASELDAN's really good. It doesn't, like the only counter is mobility. But like, even with mobility, Necros aren't mobile unless they have Hopper, and like Onis aren't that mobile either. And those like the 2 things you gotta worry about. I mean, Faceless and Shinobi too, just because they can execute you from like a distance or when you're ragdolled. Like those races are a bit more tricky with HASELDAN, but if I mean not races, classes, but if you're not fighting them, HASELDAN's really good because you can just wait. They have to come to you, and when they come to you to kill you, you can just pop that and just get back up and then combo them, and like they won't expect it unless they're smart. But even if they're smart, like you still have that extra time. And let's say you're a HASELDAN with like super high mobility like Wraith or Hopper or Grapple, you can just get somewhere far away from them so they can't get you, and boom, you're up again. You can fight again with the buff. Like it's very good. And if you have Evamp, you just get even more regen on top of this. So yeah, HASELDAN is just generally good for PvP and survivability. Like let's say you get knocks on fire, you can get up from that. Like it's just good race, very good race for PvP. It's not S tier, it's A tier because like you only have it when you're low HP, and like that's not that great in 1 combos because like you're dead anyway, and HASELDAN doesn't really defend against that other than Bloodline. But then you do become the one doing the 1 combo. HASELDAN is just a good race. It's A tier. It's a solid A tier. So next, let's see, we have MADRASIAN. Let's do MADRASIAN. Okay, MADRASIAN. Let's see. I think MADRASIAN is not a C tier. It's not that bad in Gaia. MADRASIAN's a pretty good race. Like you can do some really stupid stuff with it. It's pretty good. Like Trinket Shift is underrated. I think MADRASIAN is a B tier. Now hear me out. It's not A tier because it doesn't have any like insane PvP advantages, but MADRASIAN Trinket Shift is very useful. You can turn almost invisible. Like it's really hard to hit you, especially at night. And like MADRASIAN Faceless, man, that shit is really good. MADRASIAN, you can sneak up on people, you can't be observed. Like, yeah, you can escape. It's really good. Like, it's a good race. It's not A tier though, because no PvP advantages in the PvP game. It's pretty good though. Like, it's a solid race. It's not like Scream or Castellan level, but it's not HASELDAN level. It's just like in the middle. It's like just right, you know? It's a well-rounded race. Okay, next. Let's do Vins. Let's do Vins now. Okay, Vins is a controversial one, I think, because I know lots of people hate Vins and think it's a trash race. I do not. I think Vins is very good, and I'll explain to you why. So it's not S tier. I don't think Vins is S tier. It's close, it's high A tier, but it's not S tier, so I'm putting it in A tier. Let me tell you why I'm putting it in A tier. First of all, you have a really nice passive. What's it called? It's like, you go to Sky Castle with 1 gem. That's really useful. Don't underestimate that passive. That's just super utility. It's very good. You can get scrollettes easier. Good for progressing scrollettes and getting like easy Snarvender or whatever. Scrollettes, more scrollettes. It's good. What else? You get the regen buff. The regen buff isn't really anything special. Like, okay, it's there. Cool, awesome. Now the thing with Vins is Tempest Soul and the Snarv buff. Like that's why it's A tier. Like I wouldn't say S tier, but A tier. Okay, so the Snarv buff, self-explanatory. Snarvender late game is it's a main source of damage. You do tons of damage with your Snarv. You can one combo people like way easier with this. Like, remember how I mentioned that late game Snarvender is like a main source of damage? Tempest Soul reflects Snarvender. So okay, let me just explain to you, give you a rundown on like how Tempest Soul should be used. Many Vins just use Tempest Soul for a speed boost. I think you should use it like properly. Like, okay, while Tempest Soul is active or while it's off cooldown, they can't engage with a spell. Spells are like a whole set of damage. Like, you have a whole damage type. Half of the game is fucking spells pretty much, and Tempest Soul just negates that. Like, they can't start combos with spells, and they can't snarve you either while you have it on, otherwise they just damage themselves. So you can basically just get like, it's like spell iframes. It's just good. Like, it's really good. Like, I think of it like an alternative Flock or an alternative Lannis. Like, it's just really good for negating spells, a whole damage type. They can't engage with spells. You can reflect Snarvender. Like, yeah, it's great. And then even if they do like somehow hit you and you have Tempest Soul on, like, you can just now bear in your combo. Like, it's a good race, and with the Snarv damage on top of that, it's just a well-rounded good race. And with Chef, because like Chef is a thing now, Chef is perfect with Vins and Fischeran. So now Vins have like a viable way of getting regen, and they just counter a lot of like metas, really. Vins is just, it's like an anti-meta race. It's very good. So yeah, Vins is just a solid race. It's a good race. Okay, next, let's do DZIN. Okay, this is hard. I don't know if I should put it in S or A tier. I'm probably gonna put DZIN. Yeah, I think it's S tier. Okay, not because of World's Pulse. Listen, World's Pulse is good. Counters MADRASIAN, like you can see people in Trinket Shift. Just having it on is really good. Plus you have that one bug thing you can do where you have max range with no blindness. That's very good. World's Pulse, it's just alright. Like, it's not amazing. It's just a good ability. Like, it's useful, you know? Utility. Not that great in PvP though. But the Zins have Awakening, which is just 10 dodges. Like, that doesn't sound like super OP or whatever, but think about it. You're getting combos. Like, let's say you're against a druid, they Verdian you, but you have Awakening on, they can't do that action surge combo. Like, you're getting Bane combos, like, that's not gonna hit you. You can just turn their combo into your combo, and if you're like evamp on top of that, you can regen while you're dodging, and you can just mage shield, and then like basically nothing can hit you. Like, you can even dodge Telorum. If you pop Awakening and just hold Mage Shield, like, you're basically immortal. Like, nothing can really hit you. So you can just regen HP in like this safe bubble you've created for yourself with Awakening and Mage Shield. Or like, let's say you're getting combos, like Bane combos or Sigil combos. If you use Awakening, you're gonna dodge that and then you're gonna hit them. So you're turning their combo into your combo. It's just really good. Like, you're hard to kill. You turn people's combos into your combos. Just a really solid race. It's very good for PvP. So yeah, that's why it's S tier. And the reason why it's not like it's higher than A tier is because it just counters like a lot of the meta. Like, most classes nowadays are like shinobis or mages. Now mages, like, they don't, like, let's say with Necro, Awakening, dodges Shriekers or whatever. You can dodge Snap Tenebris, it counters that. Druid, Snap Verdian, Fresco, you dodge that. Ilu's just, well, I mean, Ilu like Dominus and Shriekers pretty much. That's like the only physical things they really do. Like, you dodge that. Like, you counter mages to some extent, and you counter Bane to some extent, which is like the main two things you're gonna see in like the meta. Sigil Knights you counter. Like, so much of the game is just M1s to start combos and to like carry out combos, and DZIN just negates that. Like, you need M1s to combo, and DZIN just removes that. Like, you can't do that anymore. So yeah, that's why DZIN is S tier. Next, let's do Casperin. Okay, Casperin. Where should this go? It's not C tier. Casperin's a good race. It's not. Okay, is it? I don't think it's B tier. I think Casperin slept on. I think Casperin slept on. It's not S tier, cause like it doesn't have, like it has PvP advantages, like good PvP advantages, but like they're not like wild, like offensive, like really good, like one combo. I'd say Casperin's definitely an A tier. Now let me tell you why. So they have 4 lives. 4 lives, like that's just fucking good. I don't think people realize how good 4 lives actually is. Like you're just like, you're thinking, oh, it's convenient. Nah, late game 4 lives is big, very big. You can gank more, like you can have more lives. It's just more lives. You're not gonna wipe as much. Your character is gonna stay alive longer. You're gonna be way stressed. Like 4 lives, really good passive, just amazing passive. Yeah. Okay, next they get the slash resistance. The slash resistance is good. Like it's slash resistance. Daggers, swords, most of the weapons in the game, they're slash weapons. You take less damage from that. You've negated a whole damage source. Like that's a really good passive. And they have fire resistance, which is amazing, because you can go Casperin Evamp, and then you know how Evamps take like way more fire damage? Casperin negates that. You take normal fire damage. And even if you are an Evamp, you take no fire damage in the first place. So you're negating 2 like whole damage types, like steel weapons, slashing, and fire resistance. Like that's just really good. That's amazing. Really good for vamps, just really good in general for tanky builds or non-tanky builds to get that extra boost of HP you'll need in a fight. It's just amazing. Now Respirare, it's just branded Ignis. It's just Ignis but better. Like you don't need 100% mana for it, like that's the main thing. You can probably use it like mid fucking combo to just get a Ragdoll out. Like it's a good move. Respirate is good. Also, don't Casperins get like that fire buff? Yeah, that fire buff, it's pretty good. It's not like amazing, but like it's there, you know? Like it's there when you need it. So yeah, Casperin is an A tier race. Doesn't have anything outstanding to put it in S tier, but it's a solid A tier race. Alright, so the next race I'm gonna do probably Navarin. Let's do Navarin. Okay. Navarin. Now it's definitely not C or B tier. It's definitely ARS. So let's see. Like it's definitely A. But like is it? Yeah, I think it's S tier. Okay. Navarin. Navarin's S tier. Okay. Let me tell you why Navarin is S tier. So remember earlier how I was going on about there being like 2 things that makes a good build: health or mobility. Like Navarin, it has everything. Like it has both of that. Like you can, for mobility, you can do like fucking wing saw, lightning elbow, demon step or something. Like you can emulate hyper body for health, silver guard, dark sigil helm, or you can just like emulate a fucking attack move to kill people quicker for PvP. It's really good. Like Navarin is really good. You can do so much stuff with it. You can make so many stupid combos that are like basically unkillable if you're smart enough. And like they also have that passive. And they also have that passive where like if you grip someone, you get hunger. That passive is really good. Like it's just really useful. Like let's say you're in the middle of the gank, you're a vampire, you have no blood thorns or whatever, blood chalices or whatever you're using. Like if you grip someone, you get your hunger back. Like that's really good. You don't have to feed on them, you can just grip them. And if you're progressing, you can feed and grip and then you get your full bar back. Like that passive is very useful. Navarin is just a very good race. It's just very good for everything. PvP, mobility, health. Navarin's just an S tier race. It's just really good. Just have a brain on your head, be creative, see what you can do. Like I would recommend like some stupid builds you can do is like Shinobi or Spy with Wingsaw. Like Spy with Emerald Strike is very good. Shinobi with like Shadow Fan, Shinobi with Emerald Strike. Like what else? What else could you do? You could do like Wraith Knight with Hyper Body. Like you can do so much. You can do Sigil Knight Commander. You have Hyper Body and now you have Silver Guard. Like you can do so much stuff with this race. to make stupid builds. Like you could be Druid and then you could emulate Rising Dragon or Lightning Elbow. You could be Abyss Walker. Oh yeah, and it's really good with hybrids as well. Like for example, Greatsword Necro. You can have Snap Tenebris and Ray Fully. That's both a spell type attack and a physical type attack. If you use them at the same time, that's an unblockable curse stack combo. You can go like Necro Dragon Knight. Now that build's just OP. You can send out your fucking Tenebris orbs to track people, then Light Piercer them, boom, unblockable. You can dash on them, Spear Crusher with curse stacks. That shit does so much damage. It's better than like artifact build. It's just really strong. Navran, you can do so much stuff with it. It's really good race. Definitely S tier. Okay, what are we doing next? Let's see. Let's do Morvid. Okay, Morvid. Morvid is like... Morvid, not gonna lie, in my opinion, is a pretty fucking bland race. Like, it's not that special. Like, it's super basic. Like, it's pretty obvious. Feather Falling is super good. Flock, you click and you get iframes, no mana required. Like, you have no requirements, just don't be stunned. And you click and you get iframes, which iframes everything. Not Mori, not kill bricks, but like everything else. Not poison. Wait, does it iframe fire? I don't know, it probably doesn't because you don't iframe effect. But yeah, you can't take 4 damage. I think Morvid is A tier. It's not S tier because like it doesn't have that like extra thing to it. But Morvid is definitely, I'd say it's high A tier. I'm not gonna move it around because like if the races are in an area, that means they're all like equal in strength in some way. I wouldn't put Morvid S tier because like it's not super overpowered or whatever. It's good. It's very good. Morvid's very good for PvP. It's not busted though. It's just good. It's just really good in like every way. So yeah, I think Morvid is definitely an A tier. It's just a solid race. There's not really much to say about it. You can get out combos, you can negate 4 damage, like jumping off a Sky Castle or whatever. Feather Falling is really good. You negate 4 damage. That's a whole damage type once again. That's amazing. Like you get Ignis off a cliff. Usually you would die, but no, you're a Morvid. You don't die anymore. The thing with Morvid is I wouldn't go Featherfall classes because like you could go like Shinobi, which has Featherfall, and then half Flock and you'll be like, oh my god, Flock Shinobi, so mobile, I'm never gonna get hit. Well, why would you do that when you can just go Fisherman Shinobi, which is just the same thing, but better, because you have more stuff. So yeah, Morvid is good. It's a good race. It's a very good race. Definitely a solid A tier. I wouldn't put it in S, but like, it's definite, don't get me wrong, Morvids will mess you up. They're very good. So yeah, next race. Let's do Construct. Okay, I want to do Construct. Okay. Construct is a hard one. Construct is a hard one. So it's definitely A or S tier. Now the question is it S tier? Okay, let's go over what Construct has. Like you're in a fight, you have not much health. You can walk while drinking potions, so you have feather feet, you have health potions. Like those are just useful in general. Like that's just useful to have. So yeah, like it's pretty good. You get your health back. But if you're fighting a good player, they aren't gonna let you. Like, let's be real, you aren't gonna be able to do that mid-fight. They're not gonna let you do that. Galvanize is a free res. Now, the thing that makes Galvanize so good is you can use it anywhere, at any time. You can use it while being carried, you can use it while being interrogated, you can use it while knocked. It's really good. Not interrogate. Galvanize is just so useful, incredibly useful. It heals like quite a lot as well and ragdolls people backwards. The only like problem it has is like the little delay, and it can be countered with no seer. But having a res is just super useful in general for classes that don't have a res. Now they have a res because of Construct. So yeah, the res is very good. Like the toxicity bar is like, I think it's the right amount. I think the toxicity bar is a good amount. I think it's A tier. I wouldn't say S tier because I mean, okay, Construct has so much survivability, which is very good for like mages. Like it's good because it just has that res, you know? Oh yeah, and the cold resistance as well. Construct has cold resistance. But cold resistance is super useful, not gonna lie. But like I wouldn't say it's S tier. I wouldn't say it's S tier. Because it doesn't have anything like that incredible to make it's not busted. Construct isn't busted. Like when it's a meta race, don't get me wrong, it's a meta race. But when you think about it, it's not busted. It has a res and cold resistance. Whereas like the main perks of Construct, like those 2 perks are really good though. And that's why it's A tier. So yeah, Construct, I think it's A tier. It's a really good race though. Construct is very good. I'd say it's equal with S tiers, but it's not in S tier because it's not at that level. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not there. Like, it's there, but it's not at the same time. Like, it has Galvanize, which is amazing. Free resurrection, you can use it whenever you want. But, like, there's counters to it, that's the thing. You can drink health potions, but if you're fighting someone good, that's not gonna happen. So really, you just have cold resistance and a res, which is good alone. But like, now in the current meta, it's just one combos. Galvanize helps with that 100%, and that's why people would say it's like an S tier race. But notice how like in S tier I have DZIN and Navarone. These races aren't even gonna get one combos. You see what I mean? And like, so most of the time constructs, like, it's just gonna get counters, like, straight up. Or they might not even have their resurrection. You have to wait a whole hour for that shit, and then like, you're basically raceless in a way. So yeah, construct is, it's meh. It's not the greatest, but it's definitely good. Like, it's very useful. Okay, next race. Let's do Dullahan. I want to do Dullahan. Okay, Dullahan is like A tier. I can do this one pretty quickly. It's not S tier. It's like ASHIIN. Like, ASHIIN is just a better version of Dullahan, in my opinion, because they both have an offensive move that you can use to extend combos to make combos stronger. But the thing with ASHIIN is like, it's not ragdoll, and like it's instant. With Dullahan, like, you have to aim it and everything. It has to hit, and then you have a duration, like a reaction time to it. Dullahan, like, it's a good race. You can't go vamp though. It does have infinite hunger, which is very useful. And Dullahan is just a good race. Like, it's definitely A tier. It's not B tier. It's A tier. It's just a solid race. Dullahan is just generally a good race. Like, you can make really stupid combos with it. You can make dumb one combos like ASHIIN can. But it's just not at the level ASHIIN is at, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think Dullahan is A tier. Okay, next race. Let's do FISCHERAN. Yeah, FISCHERAN. Okay. Okay, it's not C tier. It's not B tier. Is it A tier? Is FISCHERAN A tier? I don't think so. I think it's S. Okay, let me tell you why. I think FISCHERAN is S tier. Look, wind dodges. Wind dodges are just, do I even have to explain it? Like, it's just so good. They're just so good. It's like passive DZIN, man. It's so good. Like, okay, let me just rant about wind dodges. If you're a shinobi or a spy or faceless as a FISCHERAN, it's so hard to kill you. Like, it's already hard enough to hit you, but now you have like safety nets. You have 4 safety nets pretty much to just get out. Like, you can phase through attacks, you take less stun, you can block them easily, you can just walk out of combos. It's really good. And if you're like Shinobi with Shadow Rush or like Oni or something, you can just Demon Step or Shadow Rush out of a combo once you're in it. Dissolve is useless, so yeah, that's that. The wind dodges though are so good. Plus you have Chef now, more regen, and the Snarf damage boost, and the Sky Castle thing. Sky Castle thing is just useful in general. Covered this when I was talking about Vins. The Snarf damage boost with FISCHERAN is so stupid. It's just really good. Like, it's not A tier, it's above, it's beyond A tier. It's just amazing. There's so much sustainability. It's so hard to fight against. You have that safety net where you can just not get combos. If you're smart with FISCHERAN, you're gonna survive way longer. So yeah, I think FISCHERAN definitely an S tier. It's just really good. You get Chef, extra regen, with the Snarf, with the wind dodges to negate combos. FISCHERAN's just amazing. It's really hard to hit. And yeah, just great race. Okay, next let's do CAMEO. Okay, this one, it's not B tier. It used to be B tier in my opinion. It's not B tier anymore. It's A or S. I don't think it's S tier. Okay, CAMEO, yeah, it's A tier. Okay, let me explain why CAMEO is A tier. So it has 9 lives, obviously. You regen those lives. You lose 3 lives from MORVID turret. You lose 1 life from kill bricks. You lose 1 life from jumping out of the world. You lose 4 lives, if I'm correct, from combat logging. Like, those are like fair amounts. And you regain a life every hour, and you can pop PDs. Like, that's really useful. And in between each life loss, you have immortality for what is it, 20 to 30 seconds or something like that. That is just amazing. Like, let's say you're in a gank, you can't wipe as easily anymore because you can just, if you're like a CAMEO faceless, you can just dip to the outskirts of the world and jump into a void or run to a kill brick or something. Like, you can fight, and then if you're about to die, just go in that kill brick and you're fine. You're absolutely fine because you have immortality and nobody can do anything to stop you. Now, the reason why it's not S tier is because it can't use Tomeless. Tomeless is a massive part of the game. Like, it's definitely needed. Like, Snarvander's needed in late game build. Like, if you don't have Snarvander, you're at a massive disadvantage. Like, it's like half of the PvP is entirely just spells. And Cameo just has none of that. So yeah, half of the PvP is just basically magic. Cameo can't use magic. Like, I think it should be buffed somehow. Like, I don't think it's worth an artifact, to be honest. Like, in my opinion, HASELDAN is better than Cameo. And by the way, I'm not talking about Cameo construct, I'm talking about the actual race itself. Obviously, Cameo is good for Cameo construct, but hey, that's not actually Cameo, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the actual race. Yeah, Cameo is just a solid race. It's not bad, but it's not great. And like, their lives are like pretty easy to lose as well, because they have like a slightly lower HP bars, because they have 9 lives. Cameos, they're alright, they're a pretty solid race. Next race, should we do AZAEL? Let's do AZAEL. AZAEL, okay. I really like AZAEL. AZAEL is one of my favorite races. Not because, well, okay, yeah, partly because it's like a cool ass demon race and you can teleport, you get an artifact on spawn. But in my opinion, AZAEL, okay, this is going to be a hot topic to so many people. Many people are going to quote me on this and call me stupid. I am aware. But listen, just hear me out, alright? AZAEL, in my opinion, is the most balanced race in Rogue. Yeah, I said it, okay. Okay, hear me out. Let me explain to you why AZAEL is, in my opinion, the most balanced race in the game. You spawn with Gate, a fucking artifact. That's so good. That is incredible. You can get around the map, get artifacts easily, find PDs easily, progress easily. It's so good. It's amazing. Like, it's literally like the best ability ever. But you have 2 lives maximum. Now, this is a massive handicap. New players won't understand why this is so bad. Like, experienced players who gank a lot, you know why this is bad. It is really bad. The 2 lives is so trash. It balances out the overpoweredness of having Gate on spawn. So it just negates it. Like, it's just balanced. Like, it's just completely balanced. You have Gate, but you have 2 lives. If you die one time, you're in wiping range. You're losing everything if you die again. And you can Gate roulette, you can backfire, like, and everything. Like, it just balances each other out. Now let's look at what else AZAEL has. They have fire immunity. That's great. You can't be hit by Ignis or whatever. Like, that's really good, you know. But to counteract that really OP passive, that's very useful. You get Frostbite way quicker. Gyarados hurts you more. Gyarados and Frostbite are like main things, like they're a whole main ass thing in PvP. Just like Fire is. Fire is a whole damage type, so is Frostbite and Gyarados. They're both damage types. One of them deals more damage to you, and then the other one is completely negated. Like, it balances each other out again. What is the other one? You have 1.5 times mana charge. Okay, that's great. You can cast spells quickly, you can run slightly faster, but you can't go Vamp. See where I'm getting at this? It's completely balanced. Like, everything AZAEL had balances it out. It's like an equilibrium of a race. This is why AZAEL is my favorite race. It's just super good. Okay, but if we're talking for Gaia, like just as a Gaia rating, I'm just gonna have to put it at S, just for utility reasons. Now let me explain. Having Gate on spawn, easy artifacts, easy PD. You can go around the map, you can loot so much easier, you can loot so much faster. It's luxury pretty much, but you're handicapped by the 2 lives. Now, if we were talking about K, AZAEL would be like at the very top. Like, AZAEL would just be incredible. Like, in Gaia, it's really hard between A or S, but AZAEL is just, like, you can progress super easily, so you can get Adix really easily, you can get artifacts really easily. See what I'm saying with this? Like, it's not that great for PvP, but like, it's so good. Like, it's just an S tier race, just in general. It's so balanced, but it's so good, but it's so bad, if you know what I mean. Like, I would put it in A tier, but just the fact that you're able to like get your stuff so quickly, but you're able to lose it so quickly, like, that's really good. But like you can get artifacts as well and edicts very easily, like way easier than a normal player, and that's why it's S tier. Not because of the combat advantages, but because of the just sheer overwhelming utility of the race. It's not like Scroom, which is like literally just a utility race. AZAEL is all of it. It's just amazing. AZAEL is just really fucking good race. Okay, next race. Okay, let's do GAIAN and METALSCROOM. I'm gonna do these ones at the same time because in my opinion these two races are basically the same. Like they're equal in strength, completely equal in strength. Let me go over the perks of each race. METALSCROOM has the most passes in the game. First of all, really just good race, amazing race in general. Decompose, so good to use in combos, get out of combos. Once again, it like fights the meta like wins, like and DZIN, like all these anti-meta races. METALSCROOM is one of them because you can just decompose and then exhaust, and then they have a burn injury. It just turns their combo into like something lethal for them. METALSCROOM is just very useful, very good race. It has basically everything. Whereas on the other hand, GAIAN has everything. Like GAIAN is just METALSCROOM without exhaust and decompose, but just more general tankiness and utility. No, not utility. I say METALSCROOM is better for utility. GAIAN is just really good. Like you can create stupid things with it. You can go GAIAN anything, and it just makes it good. It just makes that class really good. GAIAN is just a really good race. It's tanky, you have repair, you have infinite hunger, you don't need vamp. Like you can go certain classes and just remove all their weak spots with your race. Like the GAIAN armor is just amazing. So METALSCROOM and GAIAN I think are just equal in strength. I don't think one of them's better than the other, I just think they're purely equal. They both have Percutian's buff as well, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm putting them both in S tier because they're both really good for PvP. They're both amazing. Let's see, we only have a few left. I don't like, should I even do the mod races? Like, come on. I don't need to do the mod races. So we have ASHIIN, DINAKERI and RIGAN. Let's do RIGAN. RIGAN, okay. It's not C tier. RIGAN's better than a C tier. It's not S tier. RIGAN is not S tier. It's not that great. It's good, but it's like RIGAN's great, don't get me wrong, but it's not that great. Is it A tier though, or is it B tier? That's the thing. Like, okay, you get 2 times mana, that's super good for like Ignis, Skeletus, mobility, running around, having mana for mana shield. But it's not good for casting precise spells, and like there's no point with Philos. I mean, you have Flood, but like you might as well just be DINAKERI. DINAKERI just does that but better, you know? And then you could just be a Construct, which is just this but better pretty much. Like RIGAN is like, I'm gonna put it in B tier because Flood is just DINAKERI but worse. For 2 times mana, it's really good, but you don't need it. Like it's really good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have that big significant difference in PvP. Maybe with like some stupid spell combo you can do, but like you can do that anyway most of the time, and most classes have alternative combos that also are aids. But like RIGAN, it just relies on the 2 times mana. Like that's the whole race pretty much. You have Flood, but honestly I'd only use Flood for escaping because you have the handicap afterwards, which is really bad because like you basically can't do anything and then like other than snap Ignis, and you're just reduced to your class. Yeah, RIGAN is just, it's just there. RIGAN's not A tier. It's not that great. It's not C tier either. It's not C tier either. It's B tier. It's not bad. It's not great. RIGAN is good. Like, don't get me wrong, you can be super mobile with it. Even RIGANs are incredible, but it's not like that A tier level, you know? Yeah, RIGAN is a B tier race, but you can still make busted builds with it. Don't get me wrong. It's just the race is B tier in my opinion. Okay, let's see. We have DINAKERI and ASHIIN left. Okay, let's do ASHIIN. ASHIIN S tier. Now, let me explain why. Do I even have to? Shoulder Throw, it's just an amazing race. It's good for new players. You start off with advanced combat, it's good for beating up people. You start off with mercenary carry, good for beating up people. You get agility with a dagger, not that useful, but hey, it's there for new players. ASHIIN is super good. early game for progression, and it's super good late game because of shoulder throw. Now, shoulder throw is incredible. It's like, how do I explain it? How do I put it in like a translatable way? You know, in those games where like you land a combo, like literally you do a combo, you shoulder throw, you just reset your combo. And like in Rogue Lineage, most combos one shot anyway. So having shoulder throw to add on that like extra chunk of damage, like let's say you shoulder throw into an M1 combo, into a Needle's Eye, or like into a grapple, into a lethality, into a faceless one-shot combo, macro combo, like shoulder throw into M1s, into spear crusher, like you can do so much with it. A shoulder throw just annihilates. It's just great. It's S tier, just for the offensive reasons. It doesn't have any defensive, it doesn't have any mobility, it's just offense. ASHIIN is one of the few races in the game that have offensive ability, and it has the best one in my opinion. Like you have MetaScroom, Exhaust, Dullahan, Pumpkin Grenade, ASHIIN, Shoulder Throw. Shoulder Throw is the best one. Like you can't change my mind. Shoulder Throw is just, it's just so good. Like in a game where like you have limited lives, and like late game fighting is like massive, having a move as good as shoulder throw can completely obliterate your opponent. They won't even have a chance to fight back. And last of all, we saved the best for the last. DINAKERI, all the way at the top of S tier. I know, okay, I'm just gonna put it here. These aren't in order, they're all like really good, but like DINAKERI is just, in my opinion, it's the best race in the game. Like, it's on par with, like, Seraph, okay? DINAKERI is just... If I made another rating, DINAKERI would be in that rating. Like, DINAKERI is so good. I just don't know how to explain it. Like, okay, you have infinite mana. Like, let's say you have a Philo with that, you can spell combo for days. Let's say you don't have a Philo, and you're like some sort of physical class, like melee class. You still have infinite mana. You can mana climb, you can mana dash, you don't get like destroyed by D sigils or D stages. And DINAKERI, like, it has easy chaotic progression. Like, it's not that great for Solons because you lose your flame charge easily, but it's so good for progression for new players. And then late game, you can make the best build in the game, which is DINAKERI Philo Druid. It's just so good. DINAKERI is just incredible. Like, I don't think people understand how good the infinite mana is. Like, you don't even need a Philo with it, and it's still so strong. It's still so good. Just having infinite mana changes so much in a fight. Like, while you have it on, it is so hard for you to die. Also, you have like a small damage buff and a small defense buff, I'm pretty sure. Like, that's just extra. You don't even need that. You literally have infinite mana. That alone, like, you can just manage that to get out of combos. You can instantly cast spells like Ignis and Gyarados, key spells for engaging or getting people off of you or extending combos. You can just cast them with a click of a button. You don't have to wait that extra time to charge your mana. You can just do it instantly. It's fast. Really fast, the fastest, better than RIGAN. DINAKERI is just perfect. In my opinion, it's just a perfect race. It's so good. It's just the best race. I don't like. Yeah, it's the best race. I don't know how to tell you. It's the best race. It just is. It's better than METALSCROOM. It's better than all these other races. DINAKERI is just SS tier, if I can put it on that. Along with like the mod races like Grid, Navin, and Seraph. Now, obviously, the mod races are S tier. Like, the mod races, come on. But yeah, this is my tier list. So yeah, this is it. This is my tier list on races for Gaia, for like literally everything. I mean, like PvP, utility, mobility, etc. Just how good it is for the game. This is my tier list for that. They aren't in order, so like if it's A tier, they're all generally like the same amount of good, if that makes sense. DZIN can be equally as good as DINAKERI, even though I think DINAKERI is way better, because DINAKERI is just DINAKERI. But yeah, all these races, they're there. This is what I think. I've played the game for 2 years, so I have so much knowledge, and this is honestly what I think it is. Now, don't get me wrong, like, a fucking RIGAN could beat a DINAKERI, but, like, I just, like, that's just a skill thing. DINAKERI, I think, like, as a race is better than RIGAN, for example. Or, like, I think MORVID as a race is worse than FISCHERAN. Because FISCHERAN just kind of gets what MORVID gets, but, like, more, you know? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is my race tier list. If you have any questions in the comments, please ask me. If you like want to know anything about it, ask me. If you disagree with me, tell me your thoughts, you know. If you agree with me, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, like as I mentioned, they're all like, I only have 4 rankings because they're all like they're all good in their own way, except Scream and Castellan, they're trash. Okay. Like B to S tier, these can all be used to make super good builds. Like, they're all good. I just think these races are like slightly better than these races in just like every aspect, generally, you know? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is it. Alright, thanks.